this show is really about, is aimed at or targeted at men and women, working men and women in offices, in professional companies. So what I think they'd love for free from you now would be, what are some tips, some do's and don'ts, some tips for women? So we can start with maybe just 3 tips for hair and makeup for women, and maybe 3 tips for just hair for men or styling for men. So just let's start with the women.
Sure. Don't ever overstyle your hair with by blow drying. That's one of the big things that will really damage your hair. You always use good products for your hair. Very, very important. Make sure you're using heat protecting serums and sprays, and use the right tools. Make sure that you're educated about how to do your hair. That's one very important thing for women. I think skincare is something that we really, really don't stress on. It's not all about covering up your flaws and creating a makeup look for practical for work or for evening. I think if you look after your skin, it tends to make you. A lot of women need to put skincare into their regime more so than makeup.
Yes.
Is that good for 2? And number 3, I think it's really, really important Instagram makeup is for Instagram. All those details and shiny, with the nose and a little bit of, it's not for a working person going 9 to 5, to have that kind of makeup on. You're just giving the wrong message. People are going to take you in a non-professional manner. You need to be understated with your makeup. I think makeup has become, you should look good. Nobody should say, oh, you've done your makeup really nicely. You should look good.
Got it. Okay, some great tips.
Easy on the makeup. Life is not a red carpet 24 hours a day.
The less is more kind of thing, right?
Less is more. I always believed in that. Less is so much more.
Okay, what about guys? Let's talk about guys. 3 things: styling, hair, whatever, clothes, whatever.
Don't go for trend. I think men go for trend a lot. Whatever is trendy, they go to a barbershop and say it may not suit them, it may not suit their lifestyle, it may not suit their age bracket. I think a lot of men today are going through this, like I said, the Johnny Bravo syndrome. I think it's a really dated look. Get something that doesn't require all that blow drying, such a huge amount of use of product. I think men should become simple with their sort of styling, with their hair. Go for things that are more natural, more masculine, and something that's easy to handle and maintain. Second thing I would say for men as well is, there's a lot of new products out there. I think men have started from, let's say, 40 years ago when I started in this business, have started looking after themselves and grooming themselves better. And I think men have started taking a lot more care of their skin, which is a good thing, because before, if you used moisturizer, maybe your masculinity was questioned.
Yes.
But all men should use moisturizer if you need to. So men should also have a good skincare regime. And I think thirdly, I feel, again, fashion is something for 18-year-olds. I'm not saying that I don't do fashion or you don't do fashion, but I don't wear the same kind of clothes I did when I was in my 20s or even in my 30s. So being age appropriate is very important.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Thank you. Fariha.
You're very welcome.
Yes. No, what I really love, Tariq, what you mentioned, you look good, not that your hair or makeup. I think this is such a great statement, because when you look good, that means you're confident, you're bringing your true self.
If you look good, you feel good. If you look good and you feel confident, you give an aura of confidence. And a lot of people, we had different, like in the 80s, everything was about power. It was about big hair and
Yes.
shoulder pads and dynasty. In the 90s, it was very different.
Yes.
In the 2000s, it's very different. And today, again, it's, taking a change. We are going into retro vibes, there's 80s revivals, 70s middle party and flicks coming back. So, I mean, there's so much that, fashion is a circle. It's a full circle and things always come around. Never throw out your old things. It'll always come back in style. And stay true to you. I think the people,
Yes.
like Talat is still glamorous as ever. Look at her. She's always been very glamorous.
Very true.
She's always had she's got fabulous hair, and it's all, you can see her hair now looking fabulous. So, one should stay true to who they are.
And इसमें तारिक इसी से related एक question है कि how does one start to create their own visual brand? How does one start? Where does one start? Because you mentioned a few things.
Everybody is their own brand these days with social media, and everybody is trying. Either you're scrolling, you don't stop. It's like when in the days when you could still buy a magazine, which is coming rarer and rarer to do, you used to flip through pages, but there would come a time when you would just stop and just be mesmerized by an image or by a vista, or it would call you to come visit it, or a bag would scream out and say, buy me. You'd see a pair of heels and say, I want them. You don't have that anymore. There's nobody that, and now everybody has the same stuff. So it's very difficult being an individual, because before you would, see a Birkin bag once in your lifetime, maybe. And now you see it around every corner, whether it's a real one or a fake one. So, how long, it's easier to be real than to try to fake it. So it's, I think for young people, it's a bit more confusing now because things have become so amalgamated. It's the United Colors of Benetton. It's everybody, and everything is, everything is politically incorrect. And, you can't say, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. You know what I mean? So I don't want to offend anyone. Yeah. But it's the truth, we do judge people for the way we look and the way we are, and and especially in Pakistan we do. It's going to be a long time coming before attitudes change here about your skin color and your height or your weight or things which are politically incorrect in the West. Over here, you'll still have a nani dadi that will be saying the same, कि रंगत सही नहीं है और हाइट नहीं है और बाल सही नहीं है
और काफी हेल्दी लग रही है आप.
So for young people, I think it's finding that individuality today is so much harder than it was for me finding my individuality 40 years ago, because of the pressures of being accepted and being everything depends on what you say, what you do, your actions. You can't, you're being monitored. It's like I said, it's a very different world. And when you're an individual, you stand out. When you see a photograph of a group of girls on Instagram, everybody has the same haircut. Everybody has the same color. Everybody's wearing the same outfit, more or less. I mean, it's like there's no individuality left. It's really hard to come by, and for all these things like Photoshop and these things tend to make everybody feel and look the same. And so does having the same bag as you and having the same outfit as you, where the access was limited before, and now you can just sit at home and online shopping and